Hello everyone. Today we are going to learn about the valency and valency of metals and non-metals, variable valency, radicals and types of radicals. So for today the first topic for us is valency. What is the meaning of valency? Valency is defined as number of electrons lost, gained or shared by an atom of an element to get or to acquire the stable electronic configuration. So, what is the meaning of stable electronic configuration? Stable electronic configuration means the electronic configuration of nearest noble gas. Either elements having a tendency to complete their outermost cell with 2 electrons, and such a condition is known as law of duplet, and most of the elements have a tendency to complete their outermost cell with 8 electrons, and that is known as law of octet. So what is the meaning of valency? Valency is defined as the number of electron or number of electrons lost, gained or shared by an atom of an element to get the stable electronic configuration or to complete its octet or duplet. So if we are talking about the element sodium having the electronic configuration 281, because the atomic number of sodium is 11, that's why the electronic configuration of sodium in 3 different cell KLM is 281. So to get stable electronic configuration of nearest noble gas, sodium has to lose 1 electron. So the number of electron lost by sodium to get the stable electronic configuration of nearest noble gas, that is neon, sodium has to lose 1 electron. That's why the valency of sodium is equal to 1. At the same time, if we are talking about fluorine having the electronic configuration 2,7, because the atomic number of fluorine is 9. So you can see in the outermost cell of fluorine there are 7 electrons, and to complete its octet it has to gain 1 electron, and when it will gain 1 electron, then only it will get the stable electronic configuration of nearest noble gas, or it can complete its octet. So how many electrons are required? That is 1. Fluorine will gain 1 electron. That's why valency of fluorine is equal to 1. Now we will discuss about valency of metals and non-metals. Valency of metal, we will first discuss about. So metals, like we have example potassium, sodium, calcium, they are metals. And if we are talking about their electronic configuration, the electronic configuration of potassium is 2881. The electronic configuration is 281. Calcium has the electronic configuration 2882, and magnesium is also a type of metal. Its electronic configuration is 282. So potassium has electronic configuration 2881. So how many electrons it has to lose to get the stable electronic configuration of nearest noble gas? That is equal to 1. It has to lose 1 electron so that it can get its octet complete. At the same time, if we are talking about other elements like sodium, calcium and magnesium, they have 1, 2 and 2 electrons extra after completion of their octet. That's why they have to lose these electrons. So number of electrons lost by them will be equal to 1, 1, 2, 2. That's why their valency will be equal to 1 for potassium, 1 for sodium, 2 for calcium and 2 for magnesium respectively. So that is the valency of potassium. This one is the valency for sodium. This one is for calcium and magnesium. So in other words, we can say valency of a metal is defined as number of electrons lost by it during the formation of compound. So valency of metal is defined as number of electron or electrons lost by an atom of a metal to complete its octet. So valency of metals is defined as number of electron or electrons lost by an atom of a metal to complete its octet or to get the stable electronic configuration of nearest noble gas. Valency of non-metals. We have some non-metals which are very common like chlorine, oxygen, nitrogen. So chlorine has the electronic configuration 287. Oxygen has electronic configuration 2,6. Nitrogen has the electronic configuration 2,5. And you can see how many electrons required by chlorine to complete its octet. 1. It means it has to gain 1 electron. At the same time, if I am talking about oxygen, oxygen needed 2 more electrons to complete its octet. And for the completion of the outermost cell with 8 electrons, nitrogen needed 3 more electrons. So we can say the valency of non-metal is defined as number of electron gained. So the definition will be number of electron or electrons gained by an atom of a non-metal to complete its octet or to get the stable electronic configuration. So for completion of their octet, they need 1, 2 or 3 electrons respectively. That's why their valency will be 1, 2 or 3 respectively. Now the next topic for us is variable valency. variable valency. Some elements have more than one valency in their compounds. Such a condition is known as variable valency, or those elements are said to possess variable valency. Like we have FeCl2 and FeCl3. So we have two compounds of iron at the same time if we are talking about chloride of iron. Here two chlorine atoms are attached, and if we are talking about classical definition of valency, that is defined as number of chlorine atom attached with one atom of an element. That is classical concept. There they used the definition of valency as combining capacity. So here iron is attached with two chlorine atom, that's why its valency is 2 positive. At the same time, in this example, iron is attached with 3 chlorine atom, that's why here the valency of iron is +3. So you can see iron is a type of element having more than one valency in its compound. And one very important thing you have to notice is the lower valency ends with OUS and the higher valency ends with IC. So what we have to do? We have to write the Latin name of iron, that is ferrum, as we have discussed the Latin names in our previous video. So the Latin name of iron is ferrum, and we have to add OUS. Before it we have to drop this UM. So the new word for Fe2 positive is ferrous, ends with OUS. At the same time, if I am talking about Latin name of iron, that is ferrum, and then we have to drop UM and we have to add IC. Now the name of Fe3 positive is ferric. So here in this example you can notice that iron is having two different valencies. One valency is +2 and other valency is +3, and while it represent the +2 valency, that time the name will be ferrous, and while it will represent the higher valency, that is +3, that time the name will be ferric. So the name or the common name for this compound will be ferrous chloride, and the name of this compound FeCl3 will be ferric chloride. So we have two valencies. In other words, we can say iron is a type of element having variable valency. We have other elements as well having the variable valency, like stannic, stannous. We have plumbous, plumbic. We have aurous, auric. So Pb2 positive, Pb4 positive. Lead is also a type of element having two different valencies. It means lead is also a type of element having variable valency. And two valencies shown by lead is 2 positive and 4 positive. As I told you, while we are going to represent the lower valency, the name ends with OUS, and if we are going to represent the higher valency, that time name ends with IC. The Latin name for Pb is plumbum. We have to add OUS. Before it, we have to drop UM. The new word will be plumbus. So Pb2 positive is known as plumbus. And again, if we are talking about Pb4 positive, then what we have to do? We have to write the Latin name of lead, that is plumbum, plus IC. Before it, we have to drop UM, and the new word which comes is plumbic. So Pb2 positive is known as plumbus and Pb4 positive is known as plumbic. We have lots of other elements having variable valency like Sn2 positive, Sn4 positive, Mn2 positive, Mn4 positive. Now the next topic for us is radical. Radical is defined as an atom or group of atoms having charge either positive or negative, and it behaves as a unit in a chemical reaction. So you have to keep in mind this definition. All the words are essential, that it may be an atom like this one. This is radical, Na positive, or group of atoms like NH4 1 positive. Either radical is a single atom or group of atoms. Here you can see 1 nitrogen and 4 hydrogen atoms. Group of atoms having charge either positive or negative. They may be negative like Cl negative or CO3 2 negative. So again we have to apply the definition. Radicals are defined as an atom or group of atom having either positive charge or negative charge, and in a particular reaction they behaves as a single unit. So these are some example for different radicals. Now we are going to learn about the classification of radicals or the types of radicals. So according to some books, the radicals are of different types. I am going to tell you 3 important bases on the basis of which we can classify radicals. The first base is on the basis of charge carried by them. So we have two different types of radicals on the basis of charge carried by them. They are acidic or acid radicals, or the second class is basic radicals. So according to the charge carried by them, we have two important type of radicals. Acid radicals are those radicals having negative charge, and basic radicals are those having positive charge. So we can say the negatively charged radicals are known as acid radicals, and positively charged radicals are known as basic radicals. In some book, for them a specific name we have electronegative radicals, or they may be written like anions. Anions are those ions having negative charge. For example, we have Cl negative, Br negative, I negative, CO3 2 negative, that is chloride radical, bromide radical, iodide radical, carbonate radical, sulfate radical. They all are acid radicals. Why they are acid radicals? Because they have negative charge, or they may be written like electronegative radicals or anions. At the same time, if we are talking about basic radicals are also known as cations. Or what is the meaning of cation? Cation is an ion having positive charge, or positively charged ion are also known as cation. So basic radicals, in some books, they may be represented with the help of cation because they are positively charged, or they may be written like electropositive radical. We have lots of example like K positive, NH4 positive, we have Ca2 positive, PT4 positive, PT2 positive, etc. All of them are basic radicals. Why they are basic radicals? Because they have positive charge. Now the second classification of radicals on the basis of composition. On the basis of composition. On the basis of composition, if we are talking about, again we have two different types of radicals. Simple radical, or the second one is compound radicals. Simple radical, they are made up of only one kind of atom or atoms. And while we are talking about compound radicals are those radicals which are made up of more than one kind of atoms. So simple radical, if we are talking about the example, we have Na positive simple radical because that is made up of only one kind of atom, that is sodium. Similarly, we have K positive, Ca2 positive, Al3 positive. So they all are simple radicals because they are made up of only one kind of atoms. And if we are talking about compound radicals, we have carbonate radical, we have sulfite radicals, we have sulfate radical and bicarbonate radical. They all are made up of more than one kind of atoms. As you can see, 1 carbon, 3 oxygen, made up of more than one kind of atoms. Now the third classification on the basis of amount of charge contained by them, or in other words we can say on the basis of their valency. So we have 4 different types of radical on the basis of amount of charge contained by them. The first one is monovalent. The second, divalent radical. Third, trivalent. Or the fourth one is tetravalent. This is according to your syllabus. In some books you will find that trivalent and tetravalent are categorized in a single type, that is polyvalent. So we have, according to our book, we have 4 different type of radicals on the basis of amount of charge contained by them: monovalent radical, divalent radical, trivalent radical and tetravalent radicals. But in some book we have 3 classes on the basis of amount of charge: monovalent, divalent and polyvalent. So monovalent radicals are those radicals having single valency. Mono means 1, di means 2, tri means 3, tetra means 4. So if the valency is 1, then such type of radicals are known as monovalent radicals. If the valency is equal to 2, then such type of radicals are known as divalent radicals. And if the charge contained by them is more than 2, then such type of radicals are known as polyvalent. We have 2 different type of polyvalent. Trivalent, if the charge contained by them is equal to 3 or 4, then they are known as trivalent or tetravalent radical respectively. Examples: for example, monovalent K positive, Cl negative, Na positive, Br negative. So they all are monovalent because they have single charge, 1 valency, either positive or negative. Divalent radicals like O2 negative, S2 negative, CO3 2 negative, SO4 2 negative. So these are divalent. At the same time, if I am talking about PT2 positive, that is also a type of divalent radical. And next we have trivalent. Trivalent radical like Fe3 positive, Al3 positive, and tetravalent radical we have PT4 positive. So not only this one, but we have FeCN whole 6 4 negative, that is also a type of tetravalent radical. And if I am talking about trivalent, then I have FeCN whole 6 3 negative. So we have trivalent radical because they have 3 charge, either positive or negative. At the same time, if we are talking about tetravalent may be positive or negative. So that's all about the valency and radicals.